Green Lantern 23.3, aka Black Hand, written by Charles Soule, art by Alberto Ponticelli. So the last time we saw Black Hand, I think he was killed out in deep space. I could be wrong. But regardless, we open up somewhere in California, Coast City, and we see some mortuary workers doing cremation, and they're loading up a casket just to burn off the body. And turns out that they work in an asylum, or they get bodies from an asylum, and they're like, boy, a lot of bad people must have come through here. Good thing they're all dead and definitely not coming back. And so they go out into the back lot where there's this giant hole in the ground, and they just dump the ashes in there because no one ever claims them. So they just dump them here. Meanwhile, the Black Lantern ring descends from the sky, lands in the pile of ashes, and reanimates a body. But just as soon as it reanimates, it falls apart into dust and turns into Black Hand, who is missing his hand, by the way. So he moves forward. He sees the hand from the body that was just reanimated. He attaches it to his own arm. And he's like, cool, I can wear my ring on this. So he walks into the mortuary, and he's like, wait a minute, hold on. This place feels really, really familiar. And he looks at the name of the place, and it's the Hand Brothers Mortuary. It is the place that he grew up in, more or less. And he's like, oh, yeah, right. That's the thing. I remember that. And then we see two security guards come in, and they're like, whoa, hold on, buddy. Who the hell are you? And Hand comes after him and just like, hey, I'm on Earth. I know that much, but I'm kind of blanking on the rest of it. Could you help me remember? And he starts moving towards them. They fire off some tasers at him. He goes down on the ground and is stunned, and just like, okay, well, we got to take him to jail. Like, this is probably a job for like Green Lantern or something, but apparently all of the superheroes have disappeared because Forever Evil's just starting. So take him to jail. So in jail, he's laying there, and his like cellmate in the cell next to him just keeps on talking, keeps on telling him, just be like, hey man, I hear all the superheroes are missing, and all the cops, they're out taking care of the stuff that the superheroes normally do, so they're just ignoring us up in these cells. They can't do that. And Black Hand's like, please shut up. I would much rather prefer the quiet. And he just keeps talking and talking. He's yelling for the cops, saying, you can't do this, we got rights. And a cockroach comes into Black Hand's room, and Black Hand squishes it and then uses his abilities to bring it back to life. And he's like, go and find something bigger than yourself, kill it, and then bring it back to me. And so we see this cycle repeating over and over again. Cockroach kills bigger cockroaches kill a mouse kills a cat, until finally we get to a full-blown human that shows up in front of Black Hand's cell. And his cellmate's like, what in the hell is that? Jesus Christ, oh my God, it's a zombie. And Black Hand's like, could you just make him quiet? I don't want him to talk anymore. And so we hear a fight break out, and then the cellmate comes around also as a zombie. They unlock the cell door, and Black Hand's like, okay, now, what was I doing? I was trying to do something. So he makes his way out of the building, and he sees just everything's on fire, everything's burning, it's all chaos, and he's like, okay. I don't get distracted. I need to figure out what I'm doing. So at that point, he's like, I'm thinking of something like a ring, but not like my ring. It's like a rainbow of ring. I don't know. It's confusing. And so he walks his way through the city, and all the people who have died throughout the city, as he walks by them, they start coming back to life. And as he approaches a police barricade, they're like, Jesus Christ, this is an actual zombie apocalypse. All right, men, we all practice for this. Aim for the heads. So they all start shooting out all the zombies. And Black Hand's like, no, stop, please. Please stop that. So all the zombies are taken out, but Black Hand's left, and he's like, okay, I do need something that's going to be able to protect me. And he searches throughout all the cops for something dead inside one of them. One of the cops apparently just got a vaccine, so dead virus cells inside of him, and uses that to corrupt the cop into then corrupting all the other cops into becoming zombies. So he's like, okay. Anyway, I remember now where I need to go. And he makes his way out to a graveyard outside the building. He's like, yep, okay, it's this way. This feels right. And he ends up in front of the grave of Hal Jordan's father. And as he touches the gravestone, he gets a flash to all of his memories of Green Lantern. He's like, right, yes, Green Lantern, that was a thing. And he left me for dead out in space. And right, God, I'm Black Hand. Got it now. I'll remember that. So then he starts talking to Hal Jordan's dad, Martin Jordan, through the grave, and he's like, oh yeah, no, this is totally rude of me. Come on up. And Hal's dad comes out of the ground, and he's like, yeah, did you know your son took my arm? I think that's very rude of him. So then Martin rips off his own arm, being a zombie, hands it over to Black Hand, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, that's perfect. That's super smart. And he attaches it to his own arm, puts the ring on. So he's like, so now when I go after Green Lantern, I'm going to be able to kill him with his own father's hand. That's dark. Thanks for that, man. That's great. But yeah, in the meantime, and he uses his powers and summons all the dead in the graveyard, and he's like, let's go find you something to eat. And that's the ending. I like it. I gotta say, as someone who doesn't really know much about Black Hand, only being exposed to what was in the Jeff Johns run right towards the end, it doesn't really do much more to inform me, you know? It doesn't really tell. Obviously, he has the power to raise the dead, and he's able to talk to the dead. I get that. But I don't feel like I really know him anymore as like a person. This obviously is not an origin story. I think the origin story was probably already covered in Jeff Johns' run, so it probably was a thing where they were like, oh, well, you know, it was so recently done, we don't want to do it again. But I didn't read that, so would have been useful. In regards to this, I mean, if there's going to be a zombie apocalypse going on in Forever Evil, I'm down with that. That sounds horrific and terrifying, but at the same time, it seems like it's more of a self-contained story where Coast City is just going to be overrun with zombies. And everyone's going to be like, that's weird that that's happening over there. It has nothing to do with the other people's stuff. So, yeah, either way, I like the art style. I do appreciate a lot of how it's written. I just kind of wish it was a different story that they chose to tell. But I can't blame the story itself for that. So I'll give this one I'll give it a 7.5. It's good. It's a solid book overall. Maybe not the best out of Villains Month, but definitely pretty high up there one.